Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Conversations with Luciana, the house that Luciana has built, where everyone has a place at the table. If you're a new listener, I bring you greetings and salutations. If you are a returning listener, welcome back, family. Real talk on real issues, real life situations. Keep in mind, advice is never given, but opinions and a new perspective is always welcome. You can find me on most podcast streaming services as well as YouTube under Conversations with Luciana. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications to know when the next Conversation with Luciana are posted. My posting schedule is as follows: Motivational Monday, Inspirational Empowerment Tuesday, Open Forum Thursday, Coffee and Tea with Luciana on Sundays. YouTube exclusives are on Mondays and Saturdays. If you would like to submit a topic of conversation or be a guest on a podcast episode of Conversations with Luciana, email me at conversationswithluciana@gmail.com. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a good one. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I'm going to get into the conversation about domestic violence from the woman and the man perspective because I think equally we need to discuss them in its entirety. Hopefully we can start having the conversation on a weekly basis just to check in with you. You guys let me know your thoughts of it. But way too many times are we seeing domestic violence in murder. Some could be prevented, but hindsight is 2020. We can't go back and say the system failed us, which I believe the system does. The laws are not really clear and concise, and maybe it's because they don't have the resource to handle all that. People, different circumstances. First of all, I want to say there's no excuse to put your hands on another human being, whether it's a child or as an adult, in anger. We don't solve our disputes, or we shouldn't solve our disputes with our fist, with knives, with guns. So many people take the easy way out, right? And because they're hurting, they want to lash out and make someone else hurt physically. What you internalize emotionally, you will physically portray that, display that to another human being, even to yourself. So I was doing my research this morning, and I happened to read an article. Now, it started yesterday, but, I read it today, that a young lady, and it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or not, it's not okay. I'm pretty sure people think that domestic violence is a poor person, middle class person issue. No, it's a rich person issue too. It is. Those mansions on the hills, I'm pretty sure men and women go through it. I'm pretty sure they do. Verbal, physical, I'm pretty sure they go through it. It does not, domestic violence is not specific to a race, a gender. It's not, It has no lines that it will not cross. So she was found dead in her car, and all these celebrities started speaking out. I love the tributes after you're dead. After you're dead, everybody wants to say how wonderful you are. But we don't recognize the sign that you're in an abusive relationship, right? We just think everything is great because the person puts on that persona that everything is fine when they're really hurting. And then read further that the boyfriend was arrested for her murder. We can't be so self-absorbed that we don't see. We ignore the signs, right? Ladies, crazy don't just show up. It's there when you meet him at the coffee house, at dinner, when you go on that romantic trip. Crazy is there, right? Those little blow ups, those uncontrollable, flare ups, I like to call them. Those are signs, you know? We can't love a person out of hurting themselves. We can't love a person enough to say, this is acceptable and I'm just going to deal with it, because one day they're going to go too far and they may take your life, or you might take theirs. Should there be more resources out there? Absolutely. Absolutely. But where do we start? Where do we start? I remember a couple of months ago, before, I think Thanksgiving, a man came, took his 2 children, took the woman he was seeing, drove to a place. The mother was in panic mode. Not only did he want to hurt her, he wanted to make sure that he destroyed her. What I mean by that is, probably was physical abusive to her. They ended the marriage. But then they found him in a parked car. He not only shot the girlfriend, he shot his 2 babies. Mother would be distraught, as any mother would be. I can tell you another story of a woman was dating a guy in prison. He got out. He had issues. He was, I think this happened in Detroit. He was arrested and convicted for killing his pregnant then wife. Of course, we think we can love the demon out of somebody. Married him, had 2 kids. Things weren't going well, wanted a divorce. Not only did he shoot their 2 children they had together, but she had to watch him shoot her children by a previous relationship. That's sick, psychotic, is it? But you know what? You got to know your audience, right? You got to know who you're dealing with. I mean, we can go far back, as I believe that woman, Susan Smith, you can Google it. She, maybe not the brunt of domestic violence, but she drove her kids into the lake, and she blamed African-American male for doing that, later to find out that she did it. The last memory of those babies was that their mother got out the car and watched them go in the water. Horrible, horrible. But my point is, we forget until the next story happens. Why isn't this news? Why isn't it up there, right there, with women's right to choose? Why aren't we talking about this? Because it's a damning issue that is plaguing our society. And I don't think people know what to do. Men suffer from domestic violence too. They just don't say it. You pick things and throw things at somebody, or, you talk about them, in such a way you're very demeaning. You want to hurt them. Hurt people always want to hurt people, right? You don't want to heal. You want to hurt. What's the answer? Well, we got to have the conversation. I really don't care about who's dating who's on vacation, who's living their best life, who at 50 can put on a string bikini and look good. It's a distraction to what we should be focused on. Why don't we just talk about it? But if you're a professional athlete and you talk about it, they want you to shut up and dribble. What? What? I'm pretty sure there was, I think it was a congressman or person that was running for office. And, he stopped because he lost, I believe, custody of his kids, but the allegation was domestic violence. Why wasn't that even brought up? It is absolutely ridiculous. Verbal abuse is another thing that we don't need to talk about. I think some of these politicians are verbally abusive to the media and to the public. They say things without thinking. And I think that is a form of assault, to me, in my opinion, because they're filling people's heads with ideas, and those people that are not stable enough will act upon those. And where will we be? This is where we are. You have people committing violence towards other individuals on planes, on buses, in stores. I mean, what the hell is going on here, right? People need to take a chill. People do need to be held accountable, right? But we need to talk about them. Instead of filming it to show how people are behaving badly, we should be able to say, look, this is it. This is what we're dealing with. How are we going to fix this? This is unacceptable. People feed into the behaviors of others as an excuse because they don't want to face the consequences of their action. Domestic violence is a human right problem. It's a human rights problem, meaning that it crosses all races, denomination. It does. It doesn't matter. People are abusive towards one another, and it never used to be like this. Maybe it was, and was just hidden. But you know what? We're not focusing on things like that. We have to do more to protect men and women from that. You have to recognize that somebody is just not right. You can't love the hate out of that person, that they will turn it towards you. I used to say crazy recognize crazy, right? But you know what? Those signs, you got to go. You got to go. You got to leave. You got to save yourself. You are no good to anyone if you are no good or you cannot save yourself. Domestic violence is I'm trying to get the word out. It's an epidemic in this country. It is. It's raging rampant. If the pandemic showed us anything, people locked up in the house and not able to get out, how many people suffered through that? We have to shine the light. It's not all about, everything is great and we're focusing on this. No, lawmakers, let's focus on this too. This is a real issue. And stop thinking that it's a poor person or middle class person issue. I'm pretty sure in those mansions, on those yachts, in those planes, you got money. I'm pretty sure somebody doesn't like what you say or do, they lay in hands or lay in fist. But they're not going to cover it up. Look how many sports athletes are dealing with that. Some are just buried. They will never see the light of day. And some are just being ignored. The latest one of the NFL player that beat his ex-girlfriend up so violently, that was a hot topic. All of a sudden, we don't hear anything about it anymore. What happened to that? What's going on with that? I believe he was released. Not sure, but what happened? The media talked about it. It was in the 24-hour news cycle, and then they moved on. Domestic violence is something that you can't just move on from. You can survive it. You can definitely survive it. But we need to talk about it. We need to have a serious conversation. And just, I'm going to put the question out there. You can email me at conversationswiththeluciana@gmail.com. What would be the solution? What should we do? Do men suffer from domestic violence as rapidly as women do? We need to have that conversation. You know, your teenage son being slapped by his girlfriend. Your teenage son getting things thrown at him. You know, a man, think about it. It's just not a woman's issue. It's a man's issue too, right? We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We can't just let these things go unchecked. We can't. We have to do more to have the conversations as uncomfortable as they are. I don't need to always talk about, you know, the health and what I need to do to, okay, that's great. I'm with all that, or celebrities cooking, or the political spectrum of the issue, Republican, Democrat, Greenpeace, independents. You know, we want to talk about this. We want to talk about this in a way where people can, it's in your face and you can't ignore. We can't bury everything in the sand. We can't. We got to talk about it. We got to be about it. We got to know that this is an issue. Until we are willing to tackle it, it will remain an issue. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about domestic violence? If you were a survivor or you were an abused person doing the abuse, what goes through your head? You know, what goes through your head to make you act out like that? You know, what snaps in your brain that says that this person's life is not worth living on this earth, so I'm going to take it because I'm so angry at what they said or they did or they were going to leave or whatever it is. What's wrong? Talk to us. Let us know. Let's get to the root of it. Get help. If you are the one that's creating or doing the physical violence, get help if you really are sorry. If you're sorry, you know, I don't believe in the word sorry because I don't believe people are sorry. If people are sorry or apologize, they're not going to do it again. They're just not. So sorry to me is a form of weakness. It is to me because you're not sorry. Because when you know you do wrong, you do better. And you go out your way to make sure that you do better. So telling someone that you're sorry and knowing that you're going to do it 15 minutes from now, you're never sorry. It's a poor ass excuse to trick people into believing that you really are not like that when you really are. Seek help. If you are the victim, seek help. Seek help. I implore you to seek help. It's not okay. It's not your fault. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. With prayer, I hope that you find the strength to get help on both sides. I pray that the angels encamp around you and protect you. Protect your loved ones. I hope they do. I hope they do. Seek help. There's domestic violence lines that are open, shelters that are open, men and women. It's not okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You don't deserve that. Let's have the conversation, okay? We can get through this together, one day at a time, all right? Thank you for joining. Email me your thoughts. Appreciate you, and I'm out. Thank you for listening to another podcast episode of Conversations with a Luciana. I look forward to speaking with you again. Until then, be kind to yourself and others. Make every day your best day. Stay encouraged and press forward, for the best is yet to come. Peace, and I'm out. Let's go.